Awesome video I posted a little bit
Oh,
of it
Nikki,
from Nikki
I
standing
saw.
right next to Biden, who mentioned Nikki mentioned cannabis.
Cannabis.
Yeah, I was interested. We are live in the green room.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the green room.
Welcome back. I know, listen, welcome back.
Rocking with the band.
Listen, what a wild ride that everybody was on
God.
and that you were on, and
Crazy
listen,
ride.
once again, the perspective of those coming in from outside of the country as to what we really do have here. Is always interesting.
Which is, so these guys came from Lithuania, the gentleman group, and one of them had been in the States before, but two of them had not. And you know what was refreshing? Their reaction coming into America.
Sure.
They were so genuinely happy they're like, America.
It's like the sunshine. Well, it's like the sunshine itself.
Sunshine.
We are still the beacon on the hill.
Although,
the
they're
shining
worried
light.
about some
Well,
stuff.
who's not?
Yeah, they're worried.
No, maybe let's start there. So,
Yeah.
listen. That it's funny because
Yeah,
Tiffany knows I, try to come up with something, every week, topical, and But this to me, let the sun shine in because, listen, you've been around for a couple 3 weeks and a lot has happened. Former President Trump is now on trial formally, and to me, listen, and everybody's got to admit, there's 3 people in the room. Have you ever bought a National Enquirer? Okay, hang on. What venue?
I read them.
Hang on, you've never bought one.
I never bought one.
Have you ever read one front to back?
Oh yeah, my mom back in the 80s. My mom loved National Enquirer. I think she actually got a subscription to it. She loved that.
Tiff, you ever buy a National Enquirer? Have not. I have to admit that I have bought the National Enquirer, but only in one venue and only at one time, but multiple times. Okay. So think about it. The airport, when you're going to get on a plane. Yeah, for some reason, there's some guilty, idiotic pleasure with reading the Enquirer front to back.
I mean, you had to love, they had alien stories and all these crazy stories. They were good. They were entertaining.
But the evil genius of Donald Trump, and I will call him that, somehow figured out, and as I said to my nurses all the way back in 2015, in the ER, as he came down the elevator or the escalator, when I said, we're in trouble because it's a stupid country, Ted Cruz's father had nothing to do with JFK's assassination, and Hillary doesn't have 3 heads.
Yeah, some of the stuff that they...
No, and at this particular point in time, as we head into this new election season, and how can that be? Now, we'll get to cannabis today, we will. But my point is it legitimate to ask my friends now who are still supporters of Donald J. Trump that, do you believe that Ted Cruz's father, was involved in the JFK thing? Can you buy the fact that these stories were completely 100% made up?
Yeah, this is the problem. But the thing is, mainstream
America reads this. No, they're going through the aisles of the grocery store.
And they see the headline and they buy it. They're like, okay, that's true. It's printed.
But they're lies.
I know they're lies, but look at
I saw the greatest. I saw the greatest meme thing or screenshot, whatever. 2 TV commentators. Trump concerned with pecker leaking. Okay.
I know, couldn't they get
David
Pecker? Couldn't they do something? Come on.
Listen, David Pecker, printed stories that were completely false.
No, in his
to influence a population to go over a freaking cliff.
Yeah, no, it was to go over the
cliff. I'm affected by it. I am, and I don't think this is an insignificant trial going on up in New York.
Because honestly, to influence,
if it were on TV, it'd be like OJ. Believe me, on steroids.
It should be like OJ's case. The thing I don't understand again is the population. I thought they were smarter.
Say now to people, can you go back and actually accept the fact that the 2016 election, was and still is. Politics are full of lies and bullshit.
Yeah, they are. But but they've never been to this degree. Honestly, we all know that there's so much
laid bare. It's
But the fact of this guy Pecker, who was basically he was paid to buy off any bad story against Trump, but bury it and then make
up stories about the other candidates.
Yeah, that's.
How could Ted Cruz? and Marco Rubio and these guys who are legitimately slandered by lies.
And they still support the idiot. That's
How?
the thing I don't
How?
understand.
Why? Why?
Unless he has so much dirt on every single one of them and they all
I
have
don't know.
skeletons in their closet. I don't know because
Well, I think Pecker's got I think Pecker's got plenty of juice. No, I think Pecker's got plenty on Trump, believe me.
oh,
In
Pecker
his
Buck,
back
they're
pocket,
friends.
of course.
They're
Well, that's what
friends.
Trump
Like,
said.
yeah, they're friends. They were
Pecker's
friends.
the only one that hasn't taken any true social hits, you know, this, that,
No,
whatever.
Pecker hasn't. But the thing is, again, they
We're
were
gonna see
close
Hope
for-
Hicks. We're gonna
Yeah,
see
we'll see
others,
a
you
lot of
know.
people
It,
coming
no,
out.
it's gonna be
But-
an interesting
But the
thing.
thing is, like, people don't even realize his ex administration. Everybody was speaking out of how dangerous
don't
this
know.
man is, his own administration, and yet people are still like, "Oh, Trump, Trump." I'm like, how?
It's like there's an exit
how
ramp.
dumb
It's
are
like
you?
there's an
Like,
exit ramp every 10th of a mile.
I just
And
like
they just won't get
they
off
won't
the
get off the
freeway.
freeway. It's like, wake up! Like, how?
And I
Like,
think they have a
where were
great
you?
chance
You're
of beating
great.
Biden with any other candidate. Listen,
Yeah, they would.
listen,
But
President Biden was in Tampa, and you know, I got a great video from Nikki Fried herself. Nikki mentioned cannabis in the video, which is great, you know. And listen, Biden's doing what he can and pointing out what he can, but let's face it, people are behind the 8 ball in prices, and
I mean,
everything is more
it is more
expensive.
expensive. So
But
I
when
guess
but
that's the
when our
thing.
friends come over from overseas and they,
Oh,
you
it's
know,
cheaper. Like gas prices here are a third of what the prices are in Europe.
and I'm not quite so sure what everybody thinks that Donald Trump would do to change. You've seen every union now is absolutely lining up, you know, behind
Honestly,
Biden.
I have to say though, Europe is scared. They really truly are. And we're actually, I told you we're meeting with the Ministry of Defense of Lithuania next Wednesday, and Europe is scared.
To me, it's an
a
of
little,
course, but there's so many
frightening.
on the other side, and I really got to stop reading Facebook, you know, for any number of reasons. But you know,
Scary.
you do. It is scary. It is
Yeah.
because some people believe that Biden is weak, and everything that's going on in the world right now is because of his weakness.
No, but
And
the thing is, Europe is steady with Biden.
Absolutely,
Europe
because it's
is
the world order.
Europe is worried about
You know,
Putin's
Bannon and Trump, they
Putin.
want to tear down the world
They
order.
do want to
You
tear
know,
down world order, and the fact that Trump is arm in arm with Putin on anything should frighten half the planet, and it is. The only thing is, I don't know why people here, because maybe they're just so removed from it, I guess. Like, I think they're removed. They never had war here. They never had that threat here. So for
it's
Europe,
a soft country right now here, no doubt about it. That's what's so interesting is that
It's
finally the funding for Ukraine came
oh,
through.
thank
And
God,
got to
thank
that.
God for that.
But they're
Honestly,
fighting the
thank
front
God.
lines of the battle for
For
us right now.
democracy, for truly for
No, and they're
democracy in
destroying the
Europe.
Russian military, you know, at
But
least
But the problem is
ostensibly.
Putin again.
He's
This
got
is
more.
well, not just that, he has a red button, and so the red button
Yeah.
is going straight to the Baltics. We know that. And between Ukraine and
See, that's such
Baltics,
a scary thing that you mentioned the other day,
it's
because
frightening.
as an emergency, the emergency physician in me knows that the world can change in a
The blink
heartbeat,
of a
in
minute.
the blink of an eye, in the blink of a minute, in a bad decision,
Yeah.
over things that are out of our control.
They are out
Yeah.
of our control. But Europeans, and
Talk about the need for cannabis. I mean,
oh
you
my
know.
God, talk about PTSD. They, you know what? And I
Well,
didn't
the
know
world is
this.
on the world, in my opinion, is under a certain amount
They
of
are
PTSD.
I'm
You
telling you,
know,
the Baltics, like
well,
the guys, when they came off the plane, we were talking about it, and the guy said Lithuania, all the Baltics have ordered people to have stockpiles of batteries,
Wow.
canned foods, have dry goods, have water supply. But Europeans, the Baltics, people are buying in masses homes in Spain because they're worried if the button potentially might go off, they're moving to Spain or they're moving to England. So they're buying up properties left and right. They're leaving, and investors are leaving because they're scared of
well, putting backed into a corner in a cage is
it's a frightening thing. And then having an ally like Trump in the White House is even more frightening. So, I mean, he's truly an ally to the communists, which is frightening. And here we are trying, the Ukraine is trying to back off and fight that.
Just such a
and
strange
it's
world right now
insanity.
where there were the number of
Absolutely.
Republicans that voted against the aid
Okay,
package. You know, it's
Judy
weird.
Buchanan, I'm calling them out. So our
Did they
listeners
vote against?
again, so our listeners, especially the Ukrainians, and I know I have a lot of them listening in Northport. For all of you, you best vote against Doobie, and whoever is up in North County should best vote against Buchanan.
Explain that
They
vote. You
voted
know,
against it. It's
it's really
disgusting.
it
And
is.
two of the
Is it
biggest
just an
ones-
America first? I don't get it.
But
I, you
it's
know,
not
I,
even
it's
like,
not.
it's
It's
not,
not.
'cause that's the problem.
It's
If you
not.
actually
That's
hit
my
America
point.
first, you would have voted
I
with
don't
that.
know. It's so weird. It's just
the
a real
logic,
weird deal.
but
And
why
you know,
Florida is
and
so
segueing
weird
into
at-
everything, you know, listen, it's the
frightening.
nature of the talk, and we've talked about it in the green room, and you know, it used to be so easy.
It used
And
to be
that's politics, that's healthcare,
everything.
that's sports. You know, my Guardian's off to a flying start, which is great. No, but seriously, in the cannabis world, let's just get into it because you've been away for a couple, 3-4 weeks. We've seen some polls
Yeah,
all
the
of a
polls
sudden
are
that show that
interesting.
really maybe not
It may not go
an obvious.
recreational.
Exactly. So in
People are
Florida, as
excited.
almost everybody knows, we have our constitutional amendment, Amendment 3, which will be on the ballot, you know, and
And a
it's
lot of people
interesting.
agree it's getting
Well, the
split.
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a vicious campaign, in my humble opinion.
think so,
We're
too.
going to see talk of death from cannabis, auto accident increases, you know, things
yeah.
that are not shown by any kind of research, but it doesn't matter these days.
No,
Okay.
that doesn't.
Psychosis,
Facts don't matter.
no,
Facts don't matter. They really don't.
psychosis, okay, in young people, whereas the stats show, and I just read another study yesterday, thanks to Peter Grinspoon for posting it, that once again the rates of teenage use actually go slightly down in states
that are legal.
that do that have legal adult use. It's all about education, public
Education, but
safety.
it's also like America's still so prohibitionist as a country. Europeans, the kids can drink beer at 14, they can buy alcohol at 16. And you know what? They don't have drunk driving accidents like they do here
Sure.
because it's open.
But Europe's still interesting on cannabis.
But
And
cannabis,
stuff.
yeah,
I know
cannabis,
it's interesting.
Cannabis, they still view very harshly. They really do.
So we're, as I tell everybody, we're just in this period of time. You know, it's interesting, Ruta, because we've had a couple green rooms since you've been gone. I brought in some, you know, Gary Stein was in, and Karen Goldstein, and you know, good guests talking about kind of where we've come to in Florida to the extent of cannabis recognition. This is just another phase that we're in right now, for sure.
Several phases that it's
Several phases, and there's going to be more phases.
Exactly.
This is the phase of what I call pre-legal adult use discussion, quite frankly, because it may not pass. But we love the discussion because it brings more normalization, more discussion about public education and safety. I'm going to continue to hammer on the same drum.
It has to be.
I don't care where your cannabinoids are being purchased, be it, God forbid, gas station, okay, hemp shop, better CBD place, smoke shop, MMTC, okay, with a poor doctor visit, okay. People can run into an overexposure of cannabinoids in 2024, and they do.
And they do. And then that's the thing that gets the bad rap, because then you get the bad results, or you get the bad stories of somebody, and then those circulate. And so I think for the legalization, again, my biggest thing is I think protection of medical has to be there truly for patients. And then the biggest fear is running out of stock.
Absolutely.
And that's
here and every day.
Every day. And I think and
especially with the state not trickling out even a hoot of the new licenses. It's amazing how they do this.
It is
every single time. It's just so frustrating. Come on, guys. Like, write a new story, write a new chapter.
Do your homework. Like, haven't you?
What do you do up there?
What do you do?
We come in every day. We do what we do. I'll admit my, job is pretty straightforward. A couple bad Cleveland Browns jokes and get out of the way of my very excellent staff. No, really, we take pride in what we do. But if your job is to evaluate the applications, okay, be there 72 or 172 or 22, isn't that what you do? And why is there not a set time frame that this has to? I mean, it's not rocket science.
It's not rocket
science. What the
stupid
thing is? You know what the stupid thing is? It's probably the hitting of AI computer button
Perhaps.
program that's evaluating these apps.
Actually, no, I
Okay?
think if it was AI, it would probably get pushed through
No,
faster. I
that's
think
my
it's a little
point.
more
I
intelligent
you
than
know,
the people in the
is
department
there a
because
committee meeting?
you never hear of these things. This is
You
the
know.
thing, you never know what's going on. They issue these things, they come up with all of this. They already have a history. They run like, okay, how long has this program been out? What, 7 years easily? And still they
No,
haven't.
we haven't had a new license
You
awarded
can't
since
get through, you
2018.
can't even get through to the Office of Medical Marijuana if you have a desperate question. There are, you have to wait a week, 2 weeks to get responses. It's insanity. And they need to clean up their act. I'm sorry, but they really do. And for the cannabis side, and then they're trying to roll out perhaps an adult use legal. How are they can't even manage medical yet. It's like, come on.
You know what?
I
Listen,
don't know what they're
I'll
gonna
give the
do.
OMU their credit for improving through the years and a better process now. And, Tiffany chuckling behind the screen back there.
I don't see, they made it more difficult than before. I
No,
think
the
the
caregiver
paperwork,
system is a mess.
caregivers, the
I mean, there's things that
paperwork.
are a
Yeah,
mess.
it's a
Don't
mess.
get me
Yeah,
wrong,
it's a mess. It's not streamlined.
and
They don't, there's no customer service. It's non-existent.
and listen, we continue to hope,
It is what it is.
we continue to hope and wait for
Yeah.
Director Kimball and really anybody else at the OMU. The doctors have been, crying out formally, quite frankly, in various
For a long
forums
time.
for a voice, for a
For a
panel.
voice.
Even if it's superficial and artificial, give us a quarterly whatever by Zoom meeting,
Yeah, anything,
whatever.
actually just to have a voice somewhere. That's the thing, and it's
I mean, there's so
again,
many things that are going to come up. So the informed consent continues to be an unbelievable issue and problem. It's
Mhm.
based on old
It is,
science,
it's based on a lot of old data. They haven't
idiocy,
updated.
nonsense. It was actually Florida Can led an effort to try to get the Board of Medicine to review it. Board of Medicine just
They don't want
dismissed
to,
them.
yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
But my point is that
It's
what's going to happen
archaic.
on the legal adult use side, should it pass? And I worry about this, Ruta, and
Well, then all those forms should go away for the consent because those should
well,
be
you're not
all.
going to have anybody signing any of those forms walking
No.
into the legal adult use side.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's
So why are you
obvious.
going to have it for a medical patient? It doesn't make sense. It's totally illogical.
What's interesting to me, and we've kind of touched on it in the green room, but I think it's worth touching on again, is that there's going to be an entire pool, okay, of new patients coming into cannabis, never having used it or haven't used it for years, don't know about the edible products, the tinctures, the effects, how long they last, that there's a conversion in the liver to the 11-hydroxy THC, which may be stronger for some people, happens with Delta 8 as well. But the point is, I worry about that pool of doobie ones, never doners having medical questions, issues, problems, and then all of a sudden walking in.
They're just walking in.
And to me, it's interesting. Gary Stein had this point actually, that they may actually even set up an entirely new agency to regulate legal adult use under business and development. Right. So there'll be medical here, there'll be ag over here, believe it or not, and then you'll have a third agency, okay, that may. So we don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
That's the point. We don't know. But listen, there's been changes too. Representative Gregory not running.
Yeah, well,
I
he's
think
now the
since
president.
here,
He's
president
the
of State College of Florida. They're
Florida.
trying to.
That was a nice
They, who are the
appointment.
they? Well, no, I saw the Corcoran story about what he's making on a new college. Did you see that? $1 million
No, I
to be
haven't.
president of new. Yeah. And tear that, that
And
institution to
he
shreds.
shredded that institution. They lost their donors, so it'll be interesting to see what happens because they lost a lot.
It's gonna be an interesting election, and listen, I have patients every single day. So people say who's going to vote for this and who's going to vote for that. So what I know, because I talk to patients every day, is that there are patients absolutely positively that are not going to vote for legal adult use. They won't.
For it, I'll be honest, I'm not.
I got it, and people have their reasons for not doing so. I'm more libertarian than not. I don't think anybody should ever be arrested for the possession of a plant. To whatever extent this constitutional amendment has to do with getting rid of that, then I'm surely for it. But as I tell every single patient, the only thing that makes logical sense is to continue to hold your medical card as we go into this next phase, whatever that phase may be. may not pass. That's point number one. And if it does pass, then it's got to get through the Florida legislature. Listen, we know it's so interesting too. No, listen, because when Governor DeSantis speaks, you have to understand that he speaks in shades of whatever whatever you want to call it as well. When he talks about not wanting to have hotels smell like cannabis and this, that. Well, nobody can smoke anything anywhere in Florida inside. So the fact that there will be regulations on where it can be used, right? And they already have those restrictions to purchase away from schools and churches and all that type of stuff. So all that type of stuff is going to be laid in, okay, at some particular point in time. Interesting is that the timing of the legal adult use, with the vote being in November, leads into a legislative session, right, in that next year, that I believe is a March to May session next year, and it'll play right into it. Because and it's interesting, and you learn things, so they come out in the green room, and I learn too. The state, what the constitutional amendment does, it literally allows the MMTCs to sell products to the citizens of Florida on month 6, day 1. So, according to those that I respect, legal people in medical cannabis world, no matter what the state does as far as the regulation and their implementation, the MMTCs literally could decide to sell flower, period, with no restrictions, no caps, no limits to the citizens of Florida. Now there's going to be the 3-ounce possession cap. So if you would go to a unnamed MMTC and buy 3 ounces, or who was ever selling it at that time, listen, they may open it up to other smaller entities. I doubt it. But they may.
Like,
but the point is that a police officer can stop you if you have 6 ounces in your car because you went and bought 3 here and 3 there. Then that would be illegal, or more than 5 grams of concentrate products, vape pens, this, that, whatever. So those possession limits would still be in play to the extent of law enforcement, but we don't know how they're going to track it within the purchase.
I was going to say, how are they
side. We don't know.
When you get to get into recreational, the tracking mechanisms, I don't know how they.
Well, vary state to state. Some states you have to show your driver's license.
And you're done. So, but again, for the medical patient, they had so many hoops and so many barriers to entry, and then to all of a sudden just open it up. Also, I feel it's almost like punishing the medical patient.
You can see where the medical patient would be concerned about something like that, because that would limit supply.
It would limit
Listen, on 420, we just went through it. I got to be honest with you, everybody. 420 this year, and I'm a longtime emergency physician, as everybody knows. It was kind of like New Year's Eve, to the ER doc this year for me. I mean, 420 is 420. I got it.
Okay.
And right, kind of been there, done that, and I listen, events are tough these days.
Oh, they're very tough.
They really are. And I know people had events. I know
but they're hard.
It's hard. It really is. I don't know if it's a COVID thing, still, or just a general malaise thing, or
population kind of never.
Population is just different these days. Who the best friend of a lot of people is, unfortunately, is this.
It's so sad. It's so sad.
It's a strange world these days,
and it's very sad.
I find myself wanting to join into a little golf league, or maybe take up bowling again or something like that.
You need human interaction.
Great. No, listen, you do. Your community showed up. It was fun. Listen, I will speak to the concerts and everything. There was an unbridled joy. And I didn't understand the language, at all.
Music is music.
Music is music.
We say music is music always,
And the guys were good. But as we go into this campaign, once again, it's just going to be interesting to see who gets the legs, where the motivations are going to be. I'll be honest with you. I think the abortion debate, quite frankly, is going to far supersede.
Arizona, did you see Arizona rolling back to they have that 100-year law about the 15.
Well, the state house voted to repeal it, but I would suspect there's got to be a Senate. It's got to be signed, and this that. There's the Idaho thing, going on now. And listen, and Trump himself has the 2 trials going today. He's got the Supreme Court hearing about immunity.
What's her face? What's her name? The lady. What's her name? She's the one who got paid off.
Oh, Stormy Daniels,
Stormy
when is she
Daniels,
gonna
like,
hit the
yeah,
ball?
when
I
is she
can't
gonna- I
listen.
can't wait to hear her.
Well, that's why it would be the OJ
That's the
thing on
OJ.
steroids.
That one would be.
See, but
She
the
would get
interesting
the
thing
ratings
about
through the
this,
roof.
but the interesting thing about this era of time is that you can have reporters literally sitting in the courtroom and or the
at the
overflow
time.
room,
Yeah,
and they are
They are. It's real time.
in
They
real
are doing it
time.
in real time now, which
You
is
know,
awesome. I
right.
like that.
Give a shout out to my friend Karen Kaufman Carollo, who's a stenographer
Oh,
out in
nice.
Denver. It's what she does. And
Oh, I
oh,
have
sometimes
brothers in Sarasota.
oh, sometimes she does new, you know, that
The news.
she has tears and she does it because she's got. I know, stay
You know, the
emotional.
stenographer. Yeah.
But there you are, you
They're
need like a stenographer in there.
They do.
So they do. I mean, you have the reporters literally kind of giving, you know, real time updates. But it's just so weird that in this type of information age society that we're still forced because of certain laws in certain states
That
and
you
other
can't-
venues
yeah,
or
it's
federal
like
law or
federal.
this or that, you
Yeah,
know.
that you can't broadcast. But I think like something like this, if it's a former president, I think something like that should be broadcast because you're potentially voting this man back into the one of the most powerful seats in the world. And if he's such a
Even the
scumbag as
truth,
we know
though,
he is,
even what you
like,
see with your own two eyes, though.
I know they still
You
don't
know, I
believe they defend
know.
it. And we were actually talking, you know, our fear is if he gets arrested,
Oh,
his ratings are going to go through
I
the
know.
roof because then he becomes martyr Trump. I'm like, oh my God.
That's
and
what's
those
just
little
so
orange
weird
suits.
about it is that I
Yeah.
mean, it really Biden has nothing to do with this. It's just the timing of the legal system. We
Yeah.
bitch about it all the time. How all these cases for everything take so long. I
It
used to
takes so
marvel
long.
at the malpractice cases. They can't get me now. You know, that my ER partners would be involved in and
No,
everything
it's
like that. You know,
crazy.
years long, and who remembers any
No,
of
and
that type of
exactly. Do
stuff?
you even seeing so many patients? Do you really recall one moment and 5 minutes of time?
That's
And
why
it
charting
is-
is so
it is, it's so important
you
because
know.
you can't. There's no way you can recall. And so for like this case, okay, Stormy Daniels, she could probably recall because it's probably a monumental.
Listen, nobody paid. Romney said it. Nobody pays anybody $130,000 not
to
to have
have
sex.
sex.
And,
Exactly.
and you're not going to be with Stormy Daniels to discuss
Reading a Bible.
You know,
I
Mein
don't
Kampf
think so.
or-
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Well, you went with the Bible. I went with Mein Kampf. Yeah, well, the true Bible.
Yeah, that's Mein Kampf.
Yeah, no,
You wouldn't touch
no,
Bible.
seriously. I mean, let's face it. And it wasn't just, you know, her. It was Karen McDougal,
Oh
too.
my God. there
I
was
like the
so
doorman that
many.
got the easy, quick 30 grand.
Yeah.
Because,
no,
you know, that's like a Seinfeld episode, to
Yeah,
me, you know, to a certain extent, you know. I mean, you're quick 30, you know, whatever. It's just a real strange world, you know, and I guess the National Enquirer continues to exist, right? I mean,
I don't know.
right?
I haven't
Anybody?
seen it.
I haven't noticed
I
it.
don't know.
I
Are
know.
they still out there?
I think they are.
Presumably.
Yeah, well, I'm going
Probably
on a
are.
plane on Sunday. So
like,
it'll
you
be
can
in the
take it.
airport. Maybe I'll buy one. The
See,
ceremony.
no, I'm telling
So.
you, my mom loved National Enquirer.
It's aliens and no, it's aliens and this and that. I'm so
UFOs.
disappointed. What is really real in the world, you
I
know?
wish we had some aliens. It sucked up.
Well-
They would think of us like seriously. A bunch of aliens would come down. they'd be
Listen,
like,
that's
"What the hell
Patty's
is
theory.
wrong with you?"
Patty's always had the petri dish theory that they're
I
up
know,
there.
and
No,
they're
the
just
moon is the
looking-
moon. Who the hell knows
Looking
what's
at
up
us,
there?
going
Yeah.
like, "What the
All
fuck?"
those little craters are actually like
cameras, and they're like looking at. We're actually a big
yeah, what's
reality
going
show.
on today, you know? Listen, that's why I've always felt it. And listen, I mean, everybody knows it. You talk. What did I do? Yeah, thanks. I talked about something the other day. You know, and all of a sudden now it's out showing up on my phone.
Oh yeah,
Oh, everybody knows
everybody
that.
knows that. That's scary. Yeah, I even just in speaking, you can say, "Oh, I'm planning a trip to the Grand Canyon." Next thing you
No,
know,
I
Grand
forgot what
Canyon.
it was.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
right?
insanity.
Some with Vegas or something.
Oh no, the big.
Oh, it's the
stuff.
sphere. That's what it was.
That was the
Yeah,
sphere.
you know, they have that
Nice.
new attraction. How much it is to get into the sphere?
No,
You know, that's that big new attraction in
I
Vegas.
heard it. I just
Yeah,
haven't-
over $100 for the
Just-
seats on the side, actually, that have
Oh,
a slight distorted view of the screen.
Is it supposed to be
It's-
super cool though?
supposed-
It's supposed to be neat. I heard.
Look it up online, it's gorgeous.
Is it gorgeous? I
Yeah,
heard
it's supposed to be
nice.
IMAX, you know, once
Like
again,
a-
yeah, on steroids to use
That
the
would
same
be
analogy.
cool.
Yeah, listen, Vegas has got a bunch of new
You're
things.
heading out.
Yeah, going to Vegas,
You
you know,
and
this
Patty are
week.
going.
For sure. Listen, my wife is quite insistent on us continuing to do our thing and travel. I got a great trip coming up this summer, which we'll talk
Yes,
later. But
summer's
the
gonna
bottom
be
line
a
is the
good
bottom
trip.
line. It's such an interesting time right now in the clinic for sure. We know that. Listen, we continue to get fantastic new patients
Yeah, always.
every single day. I encourage everybody, you know, quite frankly, if you're a cannabis consumer or you're not, you're just interested in it, find the right medical facility now, find the doctors to talk to, the educational staff. Okay. Get your card now leading into this entire debate, because to me, it's almost like an insurance policy.
Yeah, where you're gonna be grandfathered.
Listen,
in,
well, for sure. And if it doesn't pass, then, listen,
you're
it's going to be
still
another 2
protected.
years before it gets back on the ballot.
Yeah, I think it's gonna
Governor
be 2 years.
DeSantis and the guys up there, they're not
It's
going to
not
do
gonna-
it. I mean, they're not going to be
do it.
motivated to do that.
No, I
No,
don't
they
think
like
so.
medical, and
They
we're
like
happy that they
medical.
like medical.
They
I don't
defend
trust
medical.
them,
No,
but they say,
do-
no,
they
I
defend
got
medical.
it.
Yeah, I
No,
like that part.
absolutely.
We heard them live. I mean,
We've heard them. We want to help that process.
Yeah,
We want to make sure that people continue to get what they want, okay, when they come into a medical office, which is that good, safe education, appropriate follow-up, and the whole bit. So my point is, everybody, don't wait, get your card now, and pay attention. And I will give one last shout out to Florida Can. Jody James had an interesting meeting last night. I couldn't attend it. I had other things going on. But it was actually advocating for people to start to run for office.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's a smart thing. Well, now
absolutely.
you actually have to have that. There's
You
not
do.
enough people. Well,
I had a patient yesterday ask me if I was interested in running for the Sarasota County Hospital Board, which we've actually kind of kicked back and forth a little bit.
It's not a paid gig, but it's a.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it.
No,
yeah.
but it's a respectful.
But there's a whole slate of candidates running on the anti-vax, and they're trying to influence the hospital board. And so there's things going on at every
which is sad
level
because the
of government.
hospital itself was pro-vax because
they're following science. They're following conventional healthcare.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have a Surgeon General in Florida right now. That
whatever. What's his name?
Dr. Ladapo. Yeah, sure.
Oh,
and Representative Mazzullo, who's been, a source of great common sense up in Tallahassee, is termed out.
That's a problem. I think
it is. Well, term limits are term limits.
No, I agree with term limits, but I kind of like having some physicians as legislators is really critical. I think that's really important. So for all the physicians listening, I think that you should always run for office too, because I think it needs a voice in the medical profession outside of those professionals who are in that field. A lot of choices and decisions are made by
it's funny. I used to say I had too many skeletons in my closet. My brother is like the cleanest person in the world. Seriously, not a skeleton in his closet.
Not a doctor.
He is, and he'd be a great candidate, believe me when I tell you. I, on the other hand, through the years, would say I've got skeletons in my closet. That would be cannabis consumption, I guess, to that extent. But other than that, I think I'm pretty clean. But I don't know, just diving into the swamp is such a commitment. It's a financial commitment.
Oh, huge financial.
It is.
Huge financially, it's huge. And also
that's unfortunate,
emotional.
Well, of course, emotion. Yeah, you put yourself out there.
And you're exhausted. By the end of the runs, you're like, you're just going on sheer
it's almost like a 90-day fiance thing, to that extent. You put yourself out there. Yeah, you're going to events, TV, people can look up things on you. It is nonstop. So I salute you for doing it.
No, it's a tough ride. And
they'll get you back
but
there,
it's also
there at
tough.
some point.
It's tough on the spouses too, because for the spouses, it's a lot, because all of a sudden, same thing. All of a sudden, your spouse is everywhere. Their faces everywhere. People think they know them, and then like they're making comments about them, and it's rough. It's rough.
Then there's obligations afterwards. So
you don't stop, because like in the public face, you have like no personal life, because then you have to be like so clean and so precise on everything you say. Then afterwards you relax and you're yourself again, and then if you want to go back into that world, it's rough.
But with this around these days, it's
tough.
entirely different world.
You have to watch your back all the time.
Of course.
But run for office, everybody. I think if you can, try and run for.
And surely register to vote. Absolutely. We'll probably say that about.
Oh my God, 1,000 times.
No, we're 175 green rooms today, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
I know. And if there's 200 or so days, we'll probably have another 25 or so green rooms easy before.
So we will keep
we'll probably talk about voting every single one.
Every single one. And we'll start getting some candidates too. I think we need to give them, I think for them, it's critical to have some airtime and get their messages out. And I think it's critical also for listeners, because you have to see whose side people are on. And again, even if it's cannabis related or other issues, abortion related issues, see who's on your side and vote for the people that are on your side and not against you. So
the only voice we got.
It is the only
one vote. But one vote matters, man. We've seen that in elections, right? Isn't that crazy too?
It's crazy.
With all the morass and all this, that, whatever. I'm telling you, it's going to come down to like the number of people, not in University of Michigan Stadium, Ohio Stadium, I'm kidding. No, but that election of 2016, literally the number of people that could have fit, fit in a 100,000 person stadium,
seriously, it's crazy if you think about it. So, anyways, everybody enjoy
Busy
your
day
weekend.
coming,
It's
so,
a busy day in trial world. I'll keep an eye out on what's going on in New York.
I was
And
referring to the 25 or so patients, but yeah, but I always keep, and an Indians game at 1:15.
Oh, so we got
Guardians.
going on.
Everybody be well.
See
See
you
you
next
next week.
week.
Oh, I will not be here.
No,
You'll
so
be
I'll
here.
be solo.